Hey guys, Gameboy30 on here once again for Legacy Tech Stories. This time out, we're going to get this Voodoo Envy to boot up for more than 12 seconds. Here's what it does currently. You hit the button, wait a few seconds, and it goes right back off. I've replaced everything that I could except the motherboard. Here's the motherboard. We also do have new lid screws, but I think we'll save that for another video. Let's just get this machine working. Alright, so it's Gameboy30 from the future here. We have sped this video up because it is quite long, over an hour and 40 minutes long, of just tearing this machine down and taking everything apart. So let's walk through it. We begin by taking out the video card and then the CPU. This has an old ATI video card of the Clevo format, so it's very hard to get a replacement GPU for these, so that's why I opted to find the motherboard first, because believe it or not, the motherboard was easier to find than the GPU. So we took out the hard drive, we're taking out the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi antenna stuff now. And this machine is a Clevo M560. This is very similar to the M570, so I have some experience in getting these machines up and running and torn down as well. So I'm using that experience here in order to get this machine apart and get ourselves into the chassis so that we can finally start tearing it apart. Now, sadly, this machine is not in perfect condition. It is a recycle center rescue, believe it or not. I traded an Alienware M15X R1, the cool silver one, to get this. The Alienware was almost working. At least it was much more working than this machine is. Now we can see here we got the keyboard off and we're dealing with all the little ribbon cables and fan headers and screws and stuff. And now we're actually working on getting everything ready to split apart. Now this part took the longest because I think I actually forgot to take out a screw. But there's also 3 very difficult to get out screws underneath the screen, and you just can't get those out. I don't really know how you're supposed to get them out. I just bended the display until I got my little screwdriver in there. And at the end, it was just an extra screw at the bottom that kept me from taking it all apart. I think I'm still struggling with it here. But yeah, when I upload the full version of this, there is going to be like just probably a cut where I'm like, what is going on? But yeah, the weirdest part about this, I'm sure I'll show it again soon, is that the palm rest is actively cooled. The palm rest has a little like big copper plate and then a heat pipe going to where the fan is, and then the fan actually cools a little mini tower heatsink connected directly to the palm rest via heat pipes. So the palm rest is insane. It keeps your palms cool even under very heavy load or extended uses. And I thought that was absolutely insane. I'll get a picture of it here for this quick video. It's insane. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen on one of these old laptops. I'm unsure if the M570 is similar like this. I don't think it is actually. So the M560 is the only one I've ever seen do this. So now we're getting into new motherboard here. And I did have some problems where it just didn't want to find its home. Eventually I figured it out that just ended up needing the CMOS battery moved to a different position. And now I'm finding out just what screws go where. There's surprisingly little screws holding in the main board. And the best feature of this whole computer, believe it or not, is actually its screws. It only uses one type of screw for the whole build. Aside from like the tiny below the bezel screws and stuff like that. The entire rest of the computer, aside from like the hinges, you know, is all one screw. So it's very easy to take apart and manage. So yeah, that's really cool. It's uncommon to find that nowadays because, you know, laptops have 12,000 different size parts. But here, using one size screw makes it really easy. There is a condition problem with these age machines, specifically the Clevos here with that little front CD changer listener while the computer's off, the media player. The plastic on that front lid is actually very fragile. So when I took this apart, 2 or 3 big chunks of plastic came with the screws, and the screws were basically just loose in there, so you could split the chassis apart at the front lip. The solution to this, I'm not entirely sure, other than just tape or JB Weld and hope, I guess. It's unfortunate, but it's fairly common. I've had a number of M570s with this problem as well. There's just not much you can do about it, especially with like how the lid latches are. If you just try to open the lid without undoing the latches, it'll just rip it right apart. So that's how it happens. I think we're getting ready to finally start putting in the main components. We're putting all the main screws back in. It took a while to get the back part of the chassis back together because the replacement board came with some parts I didn't realize I had, so I just had to remove them because I had already moved them on the main chassis itself. Aside from that though, we are routing some cables, putting in the CPU heatsink again. I had no idea if anything on this board worked. I just wanted to get it in there and just test, so I'm not going to fully assemble it for the first power up. But it is starting to come together. I didn't put new heatsink thermal paste on because I just wanted to power it up to see if it even would power up. I'm not going to put on thermal paste if the machine will just not power up. So that's what I did. Routing the cable is a bit annoying with any laptop because you got to route it very specifically in order for everything to fit together as intended. And you can see me actually there taking that shielding off for the keyboard because I had to move one wire very specifically into a different spot. And the keyboard here was a bit annoying. It kept popping back up. And here we have myself not putting in any RAM and not getting any picture because of that. And we're also reconnecting the hard drive just for completionist sake, I guess. And here we are. I'm going to leave you with the rest of the live video. I hope you enjoyed. The other one was just a warm-up. I was testing you. Why didn't it post? You forgot the memory, Game Boy. What are you doing? It was just a test. Yes! Look at that. Fantastic news. We have a picture, everybody. Mission success. Look at that, everybody. Oh, it's so good to see. Look at that. Is this max brightness? It's not a very bright display, but it works. $256 megabyte ATI. Amazing. All right. We have ourselves a working system. I am going to end this video here. The only thing you're missing out on is putting the bottom panels on, the DVD and hard drive in. We will save that for another episode to see what's on the hard drive and to see if there's anything cool on it. That's going to be it for today's Legacy Tech Stories video. It's been a long one. I probably chopped it up from its original version. In reality, I've been going for 1 hour and 41 minutes. I had some redos, I had some scares, but every system is like that to some degree. So, all in a day's work. I'll see you all in the future. Goodbye, everybody.